Hey, I'm Ellen Yin. I'm the podcast host of Cubicle to CEO, where we ask business owners and top entrepreneurs the questions you can't Google. So today we're here in Fort Worth, Texas to visit my friend Haley Burkhead and tour her amazing $1.5 million commercial property, give you a tour, give you the behind the scenes breakdown of all of the numbers of the deal structure so you can learn and come alongside with us.
Hey, I am Haley. I own 6 businesses. I go all the way from commercial, residential real estate to the online industry and recently an eyelash extension salon. So all over the place. And this is my big purchase that I'm very excited. I started dabbling in commercial real estate and made the move. So I am excited to talk about all the details and yes, things that you can't Google. We're gonna go on all the numbers.
We're going to talk about numbers first. So Haley, how did you find this property? Were you actively searching? Was it something you accidentally kind of stumbled upon and said, hey, I think this is a great thing to get in on? How did you fund the property purchase? And just any insights you can share about the deal would be great.
Yes. So we were at a co-working space in downtown Fort Worth and we are paying around $20,000 a month. Wow. So yeah, it really creeped up on me. I was like, wow. And then the pandemic hit, so we all went remote, but we missed having a building. And so I thought, well, what if I just bought a building? So by the time the pandemic's over, we can all move in together. I contacted a realtor in the area that it works with real estate investors. And so I just contacted her. We got a really awesome broker, found this place. My gym and my son's daycare is, you can just walk. I mean, a simple walk to both those places. Like, well, this is perfect, but it's $1.5 million.
So that probably gave you some sticker shock. I mean, $1.5 million, that's even probably more than you spent on your personal home. So that was probably the biggest transaction or purchase you've ever made, right?
I think I have a skill that is a strength and a weakness around not thinking.
So you can't overthink because
yeah. Not in business.
Yeah.
I just have like a ignorant trust that it's gonna work out, and it usually does. So that's kind of where I went into it.
You know, maybe it's not ignorance, maybe it's actually a wisdom where you really trust your intuition.
I do trust my intuition and gut a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the broker helped you find this place, and it didn't look like this when you.
Oh my gosh, no, it was dirt. Yeah, it was dirt, and I am not a visual person. Like I understand visual, but like I can't build something from scratch in my head. I was like, you know what? I bet I'm good at numbers. And so I basically took this building and was like, okay, well, what's my strength? I did the numbers and I found out that the mortgage would be 1/4 of what we were paying for the co-working space.
Oh my God.
So like, well, regardless, I'm gonna be saving 75% on building space. And that's if, you know, the team lived here.
Right, that's if you didn't use it as rental income at all, just cutting your expenses.
Right.
Yeah, not even in my mind at all. I just thought this would be such a cool space for just my team. And then everyone moved.
Because of the pandemic.
I was like, okay, and this was after I bought the building.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that was a huge blessing because it freed up my creativity. And then I got to relook at the building and relook at the math. I was like, okay, now what can I do? This is a blank canvas. And I view business as an art project, you know? It's like, you know how you do abstract art and you just kind of paint and you kind of go like, this color might look cool. That's how I view business. And so this became a blank canvas. It's like, okay, what color paint? What are we getting? What are the revenue streams here? So then I thought, well, what if I cut the building in half and the other half paid for the building? So I just started asking myself questions. You know, that's where the strategy comes in, is asking what questions you're asking yourself.
I totally agree. I think the quality of the questions that you ask dictate the quality of your success, right? And I know that your way of thinking is what attracts so many people to you as an entrepreneur. The way your brain works, how you creatively look at situations. So I definitely want to talk about that. But if we get back to, so this was a 1.5 million property and you needed a place to put your team originally. It was going to cut your expenses in half. And then now you're able to really turn your liability, the office costs into an asset because you're going to be able to rent out half of it, which again, we can jump into a little bit later. But how did you fund the deal? Like, what kind of loan did you go through? What was your down payment? And if you feel comfortable sharing, what is the interest rate? What is the mortgage? These are the things that I think a lot of, women especially, we don't get a lot of opportunities to sit at a table, like a little table like this and talk about these things. So I'd love to hear from you.
So a big part was the taxes. We needed to offload money for taxes. So that's why my down payment was so high.
Yeah.
I would not recommend that for someone that doesn't just have a ton of cash sitting there.
Right.
But we put $500,000 on the building. So that made the mortgage around a little less than $6,000 a month.
That's incredible.
So we went from $21,000 to $6,000, $6,000 where we couldn't use the building for a year though. But whatever. I mean, it's still.
But it's an asset now that you own.
It's an
So
asset.
you're still building. Equity. There's tax benefits.
And talking about asset, I built I did not build this, but I bought in an area that's about to blow up in Fort Worth. I bought strategically. I bought before the real estate market blew up residentially. It was perfect timing, and I think this building is going to be worth over $10 million in a maybe just one decade by how things are going. So I think, yes, I'm going to make revenue profit on it every month starting in half a year, but I'll also be able to bank 10, 20 million, depending on how the real estate market goes by the time we sell it. So it's going to be a great asset. It was just a sticker shock at the beginning. But I go back to the math, and I think that's where my ignorant trust is. I think it looks ignorant trust from the outside, but it really just is math for me. And I'm like, well, if the numbers don't work out, then I'll just change the numbers, and that's worst case scenario.
Right. And when you say change the numbers, and I want to take you guys into this beautiful conference room, which I'm obsessed with. This is my favorite room. And as soon as I saw this, I just, swoon worthy. So this conference room will be available, Haley, for rental to the public, right? People can rent this by the hour?
Yes.
Amazing. So, okay, your vision for what this could turn into, it's going to be a cash flowing asset. But for you, when you were looking at the numbers, when you said, if the numbers weren't going to work out, I would change the numbers. People watching that might be thinking, what do you mean you'll change them? Like, you'll just make up numbers? Like, what does that, right? What does that mean? I'm assuming you're meaning you would change the strategy around, okay, then how do we pull a lever and either reduce expenses or increase income, right? To change the numbers. So can you walk us through an example of that?
So our expenses for, HBHQ Inc. That is my core company, right?
Is that your holding?
The HBHQ Holdings is my real estate company.
Okay, got it.
And then HBHQ Inc., very similar in names legally.
Yeah.
HBHQ Inc. is like the cash cow business, where, my main program originator, all that stuff. So that since it is a high profit margin, we need to offload money. And so the way to do that is paying rent to my HBHQ Holdings real estate company. So the original plan, what I mean by changing the numbers is, HBHQ Inc. was going to pay for the mortgage plus some, right? But changing the numbers is in, well, what if I need to change the numbers? Well, then I go back and I look at that revenue stream, And that's what I did, because I thought, well, I don't want this whole space to be mine anymore, because it's
too much space.
I don't need this for one person. And so I thought, well, why don't I just go over there and add a revenue stream? And then I thought, well, I don't want to deal with someone that's pissy, or I'm going to get emails, or just deal with a cranky tenant. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want that energy. So then I thought, well, what if I just bought a business and then rented from myself? And that's when I found this eyelash extension company, Tidal Lash. I partner with McKenna, who is absolutely incredible, so talented, and we became partners. And now she's gonna lease. Yeah, 5-year lease over there. So it's great because now I own part of the business that is leasing part of this building, and that's helping pay for the mortgage. And then on this side, it's just my office. So we have podcast studio space. We have 2 empty offices. We have this conference room. We have an event space out there for small events. And we're we're going to be adding revenue streams that way too. So we'll actually end up making let's see, I think our profit will be around 6 to 10 grand a month profit on the building.
And that's with the income coming in from half the space being rented out to Tidal Lash, a company which you have part ownership in, and then your main company, the one that generates most of the revenue, also paying rental income towards HBHQ.
That didn't even include that. Okay, so that's a good point. So yeah, we'll make around 11, 12 grand in profit then, because I'll probably pay 3 grand.
Yeah.
And it'll fluctuate. Yeah. Knowing me, like if it might fluctuate because I kind of have that benefit.
Yes, of being the owners of both businesses.
Yes,
right.
Like if the HBHQ holding needs more money, I can just say, okay, well HBHQ Inc. is going to rent this out for a weekend and they get an extra grand. They get an extra 2 grand. Or for tax reasons, I can easily do that.
Right. That's so brilliant. So what I love about what Haley has done is she's built an ecosystem around her 6 businesses, right? Where they are able to, it's your, we're both a fan of Cody Sanchez. I know we were talking about her content. It's your unfair advantage, right? That you bring to the business, that value that you bring that any other real estate investor might not, because you have these databases of customers already built up from your other businesses. You have a natural funnel for people to rent this space for meetings or rent this space for events. And then also, like we talked about earlier, she's turning her liabilities into assets, right? An expense she was already going to be paying anyways, like rental income, is now something that gets to be a tax offset for her main business and income for her real estate business. So I love this. This is genius. And okay, we got to talk about this rug wall because this is really unusual. I have not seen this before. So tell us about your designer that you've been working with and what was this for?
Yeah, this was actually her idea. It was not my idea. But this huge window is perfect for lighting. So we are going to be able to change the background based on the rug choice. So we can clip new rugs and you can immediately change the background if you have a camera here shooting. So I'm very excited for that. I'm going to add more bright rugs to this wall, but this is a good start.
I mean, this one's my favorite because the pink, this pop of pink kind of, plays off of that wall. And yeah, I know, I can't help it. I really do think this is so smart though, because it's way more versatile than, having to change out the paint job, having to re-wallpaper. You can just buy rugs for any season, any occasion, and just clip them in. That's brilliant. If you have an office building, test this out. All right, let's go check out the rest of the space. Okay, so this I'm assuming will be the main kind of reception area. You have some spaces for people to sit and work. Is this the space that you anticipate will be an event venue that people could rent for smaller events?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, definitely. We actually have an event here next weekend.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God, that is coming up. Okay.
I know. I got a Facebook message a few days ago. It's like, I have a space.
Wow.
Okay. So we'll see how it goes next weekend.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's talk about some of those numbers. So I don't know, what is the square footage of this entire building?
It's around 3,500 square feet.
Okay. What do you anticipate renting this space out for? Because I like to kind of get into the business model. Like, even with the conference room, if you know like what your hourly rate is going to be, I kind of like seeing how different shared office spaces approach that revenue model.
That's a good question. I do not have solid numbers, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking anywhere from $50 to $150 an hour, depending on that. I think it's gonna just switch up a little bit.
Yeah.
If we were doing office space, anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,500. I know it's such a range, but I don't know yet. I have to figure out the factors.
Yeah.
But then definitely this would be per hour. And then I have a podcast studio room that I would do per hour, and that would be a little higher because it's built for podcast recording. So anywhere from $100 to $200 an hour maybe.
Yeah.
For event space, I'm letting her use it for free just to test and see, and I want B-roll footage of people actually using the space in case we market it as an event space. And it's a friend, so she was expecting to pay. Maybe I should ask her how much she was expecting to pay for it, but we'll see.
What's your vision? I know you haven't solidified. What are some ideas you have for these 2 empty offices?
Long-term rentals potentially, but I've also thought about renting them out by the hour as well and setting them up as conference rooms, putting whiteboards here and having them as a place where we have a lot of furniture.
I love the furniture here.
In my last office, back in downtown Fort Worth, we hired 8 employees in 3 weeks, and I decided to play Oprah. I was like, everyone gets to choose their own couch. Go online, choose a piece of furniture.
Okay.
And it was a lot of them no longer work here, and now we have a bunch of furniture.
Right.
So here we go.
Yeah.
We have furniture for these rooms, repurposed.
That's brilliant. Okay, and now we're coming into your office. Yeah. Yay, your sanctuary. And the way that you've built out this space is really cool. The podcast studio, we're going to get to see that, as well as Haley's meditation room. But I won't spoil the surprise, so come in. All right, so Haley, tell us about your office. What is the inspiration behind the design? What's the setup? Why this setup? I want to know how your brain works in terms of how this helps you do your best work.
Yes. So I think what I'm very excited about is having a split space. For so long, my desk has been the podcast studio recording space. It has been the space where I've had to calm down. It's a space where I take meetings. It's a space where I brainstorm. And it's just been an all-in-one. What I'm very excited about is that the way the interior designer split this room up is it's split up into 3 sections. Right. So when I get into media mode, it's this room. When I get into let's take a breather and chill the F out, I'm gonna go in this room. And then when I have meetings, I'm gonna be here. And brainstorming, I have this glass here, and I'm going to have a lot of brainstorming space on this wall. So we left it blank.
Into a whiteboard marker?
This is gonna be the whiteboard marker on this door.
Yeah.
And then here, I think I'm gonna have all of my businesses and the revenue goals and revenue strategy broken down in a month so I can see where all my CEOs are at in a glance. Because I think that's helpful. I'm a visual person. So if I can just see what all my CEOs are doing and what they're focusing on, when I text them, I can be like, hey, how's blank doing? Or like, I know this week's kind of over, well, how are you? Or something, because I can see it on this wall.
Right.
That's my goal.
It's like a vision board, but like real life, actionable. Yes.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful view sitting at your desk looking at this wall. Okay, and tell us about this look behind you. Is this something your designer put together? Okay. What did you tell her when you were having her design this space in terms of what you wanted the space to embody or feel like?
I told her that I wanted it to be bright and fun.
Okay.
And I would not consider this bright and fun, but I would consider it clean and simple, which is fine. I think there's a bright, fun vibe in these rooms, in a subtle way. Yeah. And the bright and fun is more in the conference room and in the front. But I do like this. I think it looks professional.
It does look professional.
And I don't think I've ever had anything that looks professional. I mean, I showed you where I'm working out of now. It's it's a room in my house that is full of cardboard boxes. I work around just trash everywhere, and it's not inspiring.
Yeah. I think there is a serene quality to this room that I really like, and I think it really is like a place that will be very conducive for brainstorming, for clarity, for think tanks, really. And this is very much a, what are they called? Those you know what I'm talking about. Like when you walk into the Oval Office, it's like the big executive desk. There you go. Yes. A true executive's desk, which is very fitting now that you're a chairman of multiple companies. And I will say, I do like the pop of color in the artwork that your designer has picked out all throughout the space. So that's really cute. All right. So tell us now about this. This is your meditation room. What is your meditation practice? When do you come into your meditation room? Are you going to be adding anything else in here, or are you going to leave it as empty as possible?
I am going to add a love sack. What do you call the beanbag? Yeah, I'm going to add a love sack beanbag there, I think, to meditate in, so it's super fluffy and comfortable. And I am a little bit of a weirdo. Ever since I was in 8th grade, I have loved taking textbooks or mass amount of information and color coding it and making a visual model of the information.
Interesting.
Like I would do that with history textbooks and so just it's a little bit odd, but I'm doing that with Buddhist transcripts right now.
Wow,
And
okay.
so I have something in the middle like Buddha nature, and then it spirals out.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm going to be doing on this wall is, you know how whenever you're trying to play detective and like you have the string and the pins and
where it's like the red map everywhere.
Exactly.
The strings, yeah.
That's what this will be.
Okay.
But it's going to be based on transcripts. I love studying. Like I think I'm definitely a hermit studier. I get in those modes.
Yeah.
I can be social, but my zone is that. So this is going to be my zone room. It's like a personal project that's not business related that I'm very excited to do. It's going to be fun.
So this is really interesting, and this is what I love about, talking to different CEOs and founders and business owners, and, them inviting us into their space and showing what works with their personality and the way their brain works. Because for me, a meditation room would have to be a lot of blank space, right? It would have to be very empty for my mind to kind of take up that space. For you, it's really interesting to me that you kind of need that busyness of, here's a lot of information that I'm visually processing.
Yes.
For you to think your best. So
Yes.
that is very, very interesting. I'm with you on the beanbag though. I would definitely do beanbag. All right, the next part of Haley's office is the podcast room. So let's walk into the podcast room and take a look. Obsessed with this modular furniture, this, again, the pink.
Yeah.
So what do you envision for the podcast or this media room? You said there's gonna be a table here?
Yeah.
Okay.
There'll be a marble circular table here.
Okay, amazing. And you'll have all the tech equipment set up so that someone can walk in and just record and not have to deal with any of the studio setup.
Yeah, we have a Scarlight mixer and we have one of the really, really fancy mics. It was like, the $300-400 mic or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're going to set that up. And so it'll be really nice quality equipment, not just like an ATR 2100, which
Right.
is my favorite microphone over a $300 or $400 because it's like $80, but it's the best.
Does the
But
job. Yeah.
we'll have the fancy stuff for everyone.
That's incredible. And do you envision yourself doing solo episodes? Do you want to invite guests in to record interviews? What's your vision for what's going to be created in this space?
I think it's going to be wealth oriented. We'll see. But this is going to be the creative space for that. And
Love that.
guest, yes. Probably not here, in person, but virtual. I miss having podcast guests.
All right, so we're going to head down this hallway and show you the final part of this office, which is the bathroom. And of course, we have to make a stop and highlight Julie's favorite art piece. Tell us about this one.
I just saw this. I was like, this is so perfect. She did not tell me she was going to buy it. I am all about women and wealth. Oh my goodness. I think it's getting a lot of women out of survival mode and dependence. And so money in the form of a bra, yes.
And so what is it like for you doing this without the examples or a guide necessarily to, navigate building wealth as a woman, as a business owner? What's that been like for you?
It's a lonely journey that I have found amazing support within,
Like you had to build those friendships, resources,
Yeah.
connections.
Yeah. But the experience of building that is a lonely experience because when you don't come from the world of knowing how to make money
Or keep money.
or
grow
keep money or grow money, you have to learn something so new, and anything new is hard. It's not difficult, it's just hard because it's new. And when you aren't surrounded by a lot of people doing hard things, that are doing more comfortable things, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it does create loneliness within the person doing the hard things.
Yeah.
And thankfully I have such a great support system that does not make me feel lonely every day, but the experience of getting it has been lonely.
So right behind us is the final look in this office. And my favorite part of the bathroom is the terrazzo tile. Absolutely adore it. This pendant, by the way, I did not notice when we first came in. It is so cool. Is that blown glass?
Yes.
All right, so I guess we'll end here in this bright, beautiful kitchen, which I imagine will be a gathering place for so many women like yourself, people who aspire to be a woman who builds wealth, who gives back to the community, who creates amazing things. I just feel like there's so much potential for this space. Is there any final words you want to share about your vision for the place? Any inspiration or encouragement for someone watching this video who may be thinking about doing something big and scary and new?
Yeah, I would say I think the process of dreaming big is scary for most people. And if you can just get over that hump to where dreaming isn't scary, because what's the worst thing that can happen? You thought a thought that might intimidate you, that's the worst thing that can happen. So dream big for yourself because you deserve it. I think we're not told that enough, that we deserve the things that we want. And what's great about being a human on this world is you can get what you want. And yeah, there's gonna be some effort and strategy, but as long as it feels like the human form of a video game to you, that's what matters the most.
Amazing. Thank you, Haley.
Thank you.
If you love this video, tell us where we should head next. Is there a CEO, an entrepreneur, a business owner that you are dying to see their office? You want to get the whole tour, the behind the scenes? Let us know in the comments who we should go interview and visit next. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content like this from Cubicle the CEO. Thanks all.